Hello, everybody, and welcome to Let's Talk Broncos. I'm sitting here with my co-host and good pal, Zach Seegers. We have a good podcast ahead of us today. It's going to be a fun one. It's a little bit of a game. We're going to be playing. You see it on the screen right now. What's more likely? And I'll get into the details. But Zach, first, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, Joey. Sad Bree can't join us today, but excited to get this last fun show in, playing a good game before we take a little bit of a break. I might join you guys on LTD here and there, but excited for a little bit of a vacation now that there's like nothing to talk about. If you look at Pro Football Talk, which is probably the best like just newsbreaker, just all they write is they're cranking out news pieces. All they've got over like the past week is like rookie signing rookie deals. So it's a nice dead period. It's time to recharge and watch some good Nuggets basketball. How are you doing, Joey?
I'm doing terrific. I mean, I need to stop getting so, and I'm sorry, I'm going to curse, but fucking crazy during these Nuggets game because I wake up exhausted and all I did was sit down on my ass and watch the game. But yet, Zach, I am exhausted every single morning after these Nuggets game. I get so into it. I was watching the game with my two roommates yesterday, and no one sat down for the no one sat down until the Nuggets scored their first basket. We do the whole nine like we're at the game. We have like the towels from the first one. It's a trip. It's a trip. But no, I'm excited about it. The Nuggets got their win. Obviously, there's a lot of talk about the the Lakers figured something out at the end. Guys, I don't think Rui Hachimura is the answer. I don't. The Nuggets obviously have to figure out where to place AG on the court so that so AD can't just come over and play that free safety role, and it's all about placement and stuff like that. But hey, they played their cards early. Now the Nuggets have a little bit of time to go and adjust and figure this thing out. So I am hopeful for the Nuggets. I'm sticking with it. Nuggets in 6. Zach, since the last time we spoke, has your stance changed at all? You had Nuggets in 5, I believe.
I'm rolling with it. I've got a Lakers fan friend all throughout the game last night. I just kept texting him about Lakers or Nuggets in 5 and how great it's going to be and how I'm still feeling it. I think they'll have the counter punch. Like you said, they've dealt with that kind of look before. Even the Jamal Murray thing, which I think is the far more concerning aspect. Jamal Murray was extremely sick. But yeah, we'll get into some Broncos. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good about the Nuggets. I'm rolling.
Yes. I have one last Nuggets take because we tweeted this out yesterday from the Let's Talk Broncos account. The official stance of the podcast is that Jokic is the best player in the world. And I didn't specify which sport. I didn't say nothing. I said the best player in the world. That's how we're feeling over here right now, is that we'll stand on it. Jokic is that guy. So I know all of Denver's really excited about it. But let's get into the Broncos, Zach. Let's get into the Broncos. Enough Nuggets. This is called Let's Talk Broncos. Yeah, we find ourselves talking almost anything else at the beginning of the podcast. So can you set up or explain to everybody what today's game is going to be?
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Around the NFL. I feel like I got to give them credit. But just a good hypothetical game here. We'll be throwing out 2 options relating to the Denver Broncos offseason. It's kind of how they're all themed. They all have some kind of tie in there. And we will predict which outcome we think is more likely. I think the easiest way to learn, like with any game, is to play. So I'll just get us started here. What's more likely, Joey?
Okay.
That Javonte Williams has an 1,000-yard rushing season. We just talked about some of that the other day, trying to get a little more optimistic here. So 1,000 yards from Javonte, or a 15-sack season from Randy Gregory, another key Bronco, returning from injury. Now, over the past 2 seasons, which is when we went to the 17-game format, we've had 12 players, 6 in each year, tally 15 sacks. We've had 22, I think something like 6 the first year and then 16 the next year, tally 1,000 rushing yards. So it's a little. I'm looking for Javonte to be one of the 11 most productive running backs on the ground, and Randy Gregory to finish the season with 15 sacks at least. Gregory has the less serious injury, but the more dodgy track record of being able to complete a full 16-game season. But then Javonte Williams is coming off the more nasty injury. However, the team is really built around a smash mouth running attack, and that seems to lend itself to Javonte's style. So, Joey, what's more likely?
Zach, I got to be honest. I think the answer to me is pretty clear. I'm going with Randy Gregory. I
disagree.
All right. Well, we'll talk about it. I have Randy Gregory. How many running backs? Again, there was a stat about it. I wonder if you remember it. How many running backs have come back on average or from multi-ligament knee injuries ever at the same pace before they left? And then also, this is like not 30%. Even a year removed. This isn't even a year removed. I find the odds of that so minuscule. I mean, it is literally amazing that the Broncos are even saying that he could be ready by training camp. I think the odds are greater that he misses a big portion of the season, to be honest. That's the way I was thinking about it. And then you go out and you sign Samaje Perine, who's going to eat some of those snaps from him. I just don't see it.
Not a lot.
I don't know, Zach.
He has not had a big workload in his NFL career. I don't know.
He hasn't, but at the same time, why did we want the Broncos to add another running back, even with Perine in the room? It's because of the Javonte Williams injury. So I'm going to go with Randy Gregory, and I'll also make the case for Randy Gregory. The guy is an all-world talent. I don't think there's any doubting that. I think that before he went down with injury, there was a take for him being the best defender on the entire team. I really, really believe that. That's how talented of an edge rusher Randy Gregory is. I could definitely see him get 15 sacks in the season. I could see that. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. All he has to do is stay healthy, and I almost would say that his thing would probably, 15 is really high, but I would probably put him he's like a 12-sack guy if everything falls in place for him. So I'm going Randy Gregory. Now tell me why you would pick Javonte Williams, Zach.
My thing is, for either of these accomplishments, you're going to have to play very close to a full season, if not a full season. Mm-hmm. And I think it's more likely that we see a full season from Javonte Williams, which is crazy. Now, if I really had to come down on it, I might just fall on the Randy Gregory side of things. But we're asking Randy Gregory to be like a top 5 pass rusher in the NFL and be healthy for an entire season. While Javonte, we've already seen him get really, really close to that 1,000-yard mark. I think he had like 900 scrimmage yards his rookie year. He had 900 yards his rookie year without Sean Payton calling the shots and I think kind of building the offense around his rushing style. That rookie year was the first of the 17 games. So I don't get that little bonus. But that was with a very split backfield with Melvin Gordon, where it was perfectly 50-50. They had the exact same amount of carries. I think, once again, this is going to be a run-first attack. I think the offense is going to be a lot better than that Pat Shurmur-led group. Sean Payton's a little bit better than Pat Shurmur. And now
Jerry the injury thing is huge. 1,000 yards rushing in Pat Shurmur's offense. He handed the ball off every once in a while to him. It was a possibility with how many jet sweeps he had coming around. But anyway, continue.
But I just that's big for me, and the injury's huge. But Randy Gregory has not played a whole lot of snaps. I think he's never played more than 600 snaps in a season ever in his career. The most snaps he's ever played in a season, is 522. He's only played 300 snaps twice in his this will be his ninth season in the NFL. I think it's a little more likely that Javonte, I don't know. I'm right on the fence on it. I made it really even. I thought we were going to be, I think it's right on the fence for me. It's hard for me to land on a side, but it's not hard for me to imagine Javonte Williams being more likely to hit 1,000 yards. Let's say the Broncos aren't full of shit here. Not to keep swearing, but maybe his recovery really is looking good. And I think the people citing AP is crazy. He's not rushing for 2,000 yards. And I'd say 1,500 is crazy.
And AP didn't have a multi-ligament knee injury. He tore ACL and came
He
back.
actually
We've
did.
seen that before.
He did. I didn't think it was multi-lead.
I didn't think so either.
Ligament.
Are you sure?
I'll have to double check again, but I saw it mentioned that it was also an LCL. I'll have to, but I'm not. It might have been. Either way, now it is, I think, very unlikely, but I think he could be in a 17-game season. We're talking about getting like 70, 80 yards a game, and maybe he pops 1 or 2 weeks, to balance out that average. It's going to be a smash mouth attack with Sean Payton. I could see him getting there. Well, I think it's Randy Gregory. We have a lot bigger sample size of his injury track record. And he's also coming off a fairly serious injury. I will not debate the talent. I'm with you there. He has the talent of a 15-sack player, but he also has a longer track record of demonstrating. I mean, he can't even get to 300 snaps, and he's probably going to have to play 1,000 to get to where he needs to be with that 15-sack count, especially in this Vance Joseph defense, and especially with less help along the defensive line than he had last year.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree that it's both unlikely. I'm just thinking that the other one is more unlikely.
That's the name of the game.
I mean, that's my thing. Like the Javonte one, if we really broke it down to, okay, what are the odds that he comes back week 1 fully healthy? At the time, I would say low. It's low odds. And then also, Zach, what are the odds that not only does he come back week 1 and is healthy, he's the exact same player? All right, now we're lowering the odds even crazier. And then now I have to throw in on there that the Broncos do not sign another running back, and the Broncos feel so confident in Javonte Williams off this injury that he's getting the full workload. I mean, everything, and Sean Payton history running back by committee offense. I mean, the odds.
He almost hit 1,000 in the committee. He almost hit 1,000 in the committee.
I just don't see it.
He almost hit 1,000 in a committee already. I did agree with this committee. It's tough. I think I made a decent case for Javonte there. We do have a comment really quick I want to get to here. I'll throw it up on the screen for you, Joey.
For sure. All right, let's see. He says, Samuel Castro, let's say the Broncos wanted to trade Gregory. Who would the Broncos go after to replace him? It's a good question. I mean, it's one where, guys, I don't think the Broncos would try to replace him this year. The options just aren't available. Edge is one of those positions. It's a premium in the league. That's why you always see them go super early in the NFL draft. That's why they're signing the big contracts. When teams find a really good edge, they don't get rid of him. And that's why Gregory, despite his injury history, got the big contract from the Broncos. It's that valuable of a position to where I just don't see the Broncos even having the resources to go out there and get an edge this year. I think if you were to look for a replacement, it would come in the offseason. You would have to either draft someone early or look for someone to develop. Maybe that guy's already on the Broncos roster. Those are kind of your options.
Yeah, I fully agree. I don't see it happening. Randy Gregory is going to be on this team next year. It would cost him like $8.5 million in dead money to even trade him off the roster. And then you factor in like the cost of then acquiring another edge rusher near that talent level. It would be very difficult to do. They can get out of it after this season, after 2023, but Gregory will be a Bronco, but just entertain it because I think it's a fun hypothetical, and this this episode of the show is all about the fun hypotheticals. I'll throw out 2 guys that are 2024 free agents that I think their teams might be looking to move on from them. Chase Young, I think it would take a good bit and probably wouldn't be worth it draft capital again. These are kind of far-fetched hypotheticals, but I think Washington has a good number of players on the edge. They have already declined that 5th-year option, which is a bad omen. Chase Young has not lived up to his draft status. And I don't know, maybe if you threw a 2nd-round pick at them and they're looking at the Broncos and thinking that 2nd-round pick's probably a top, 50th pick.
Yeah.
I could see them going. We're fine with this. You roll the dice on Chase Young. We've seen plenty. I think again, pretty far fetched. And the other one here. Sorry, I lost the page. And I'm
Can I add on to the Chase?
Yeah,
Young?
go.
He scares me because the fact that they didn't pick up his 5th-year option makes it seem like, okay, he's damaged goods. Because if he even had the possibility of coming back and being the player that he was pre-injury, you're saying, why in the world would you not pick that guy's 5th-year option up? I mean, we're talking about one of the best edge rushers to come into the NFL draft we've seen for a little bit. I would say Myles Garrett, Chase Young were the two guys that stand out. As people where it was like, these are great prospects. You'd be foolish not to take these guys at one. So it's scary, and not having his injury details yet trading a premium pick. It's one of those weird situations where it's like, yes, I would like to, but I don't know what I'm getting. You would really need to be a ballsy GM to trade anything premium for Chase Young right now.
Agreed. And again, this is pretty far-fetched, but fully agree with what you're saying there. Other one to maybe look at would be Carl Lawson with the Jets. They have a ton of bodies at edge. They've invested a first-round pick there multiple seasons. He has not lived up to their free agent signing, and he will be a free agent after this upcoming season. They might be willing to just get anything out of him. Maybe you could do it for like a 4th-round pick or something. But again, like the cost of adding Carl Lawson to get like a season of Carl Lawson, and then also the cost you take on of getting rid of Randy Gregory, you're probably paying a little bit more for a lesser asset. And that's why it's all probably not going to happen, but fun to think about.
No, totally. It's not going to happen because I don't know why I'm even saying this. Danielle Hunter's like my favorite, and the cap situation they're in. Ooh, I don't know. I would love it, but we'll see. That's another person to throw out there. Okay, I'm going to move on to mine. What's more likely, Zach, that 3 years down the line, let's say 3 years down the line, we're looking at Mike McGlinchey and we're saying, yes, I love that signing, or are we saying, dang, why did we do that? What is more likely for you on that for Mike McGlinchey?
I think it's way more likely we're going, dang, why did we do that? And I don't even know if it's justifiable. I think they are paying. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here. I don't know if the Broncos are that wrong on their evaluation of Mike McGlinchey. I just think their evaluation probably doesn't line up well with the money. I think they looked at their situation and went, we have a huge hole at right tackle. We have to shore up this offensive line so we can figure out what Russ is at this point in his career. And then if Russ is bad, we're going to have to draft somebody. And we would like that rookie quarterback to be protected while he's developing. So we want to rebuild this offensive line, and we have no assets to do it for the foreseeable future because you don't have high picks this year. And then let's say Russell Wilson goes bad. Guess what you're spending your 1st-round pick on next year? A quarterback. You're not spending it on rebuilding the offensive line. And if you're not bad enough, maybe you're also spending like a 2nd-round pick or a 1st-round pick in 2025 to package it up so you can get up in range of a Drake May or a Quinn Ewers or whoever. I imagine whoever gets Caleb Williams isn't trading that pick. But yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. So I think the idea with Mike McGlinchey was we're paying a premium for it, but we just need a warm body starting at right tackle. We need someone who can be an average level NFL starter for us and just stop things from totally blowing up. And I think Mike McGlinchey will deliver on that. However, I think if you're a fan looking at this tackle making near $20 million, you're going to be regularly frustrated by Mike McGlinchey. You are going to see him lose fast. Like he loses. That's the thing with offensive line play. Like an offensive lineman's job, it's to win in the run game and whatever, but in pass protection, at least, it's like to lose slowly. because if you gave them 10 seconds, they'll get by the offensive lineman. It's just buy the quarterback as much time as possible before you lose. And all too frequently, he gets blown by, which is a concern. And his athleticism has deteriorated or anything since he's been in the NFL and has gotten nicked up some. I don't see it there.
Yeah. I don't hate it. That's why I asked. And that's why I specifically went 3 years down the line. I think that's the time where it's like, okay, we're past this era where, we haven't had a right tackle in years. Do we like it? And Zach, I don't know. I go back and forth because I think 3 years down the line, hey, this tackle market isn't getting any smaller in the amount of money you have to sign these guys for. It's not. These guys are just going to continue to get paid and paid and paid and paid and paid. Hey, look at the Chiefs. They literally just went out there, signed a right tackle to like one of the was it the biggest tackle or contract? I believe so.
Not the big one of them.
One of the biggest tackle contracts in the league, and are switching his side. I think that's even more scary than the Mike McGlinchey signing, to where we at least know what this guy is doing for us. It's just what the tackle market is. But I think the fan base is going to be sick and tired of it, because they're going to be looking at it and being like, all right, what the hell? We can't figure anything else out here. The honest truth is probably not. That's what I will say. Everybody needs a right tackle. Everybody. Whether it be a backup or a starter, everybody needs a right tackle. There's not a team in the league that doesn't need a tackle, swing tackle. Like, every single team could improve one of their tackles. It is what it is. They would like to. Just the options aren't out there. So I think he's going to live up to the contract. And when you was going to sit there and look at the tackles ranked and be like, all right, in 3 years from now, the tackle market, there's going to be guys jumping him every single year. You're probably going to look at it and be like, okay, I could see it, but no one's going to be happy with it. That's going to be the main issue, I think.
And part of it is like, and this is not just a Broncos thing, not just a Mike McGlinchey thing. It's something we see league wide every year in free agency with all sorts of players, even like with trades and whatnot. If Mike McGlinchey was not drafted in the top 10 of his draft, he would not have gotten paid that contract.
Facts. Yeah.
Like the tape does not align with that contract.
He's a weird player because you see why he's a first round pick.
Yeah.
Guys, the athleticism, his movement is crazy at a mammoth size that he is. He just still looks like a prospect a little bit. That's kind of the issue.
Yeah.
And
it's probably not taking any big leaps all of a sudden.
Probably not. When you go back there, part of the draft evaluation, and when you see problems, you have to ask why. And when you ask why with Mike McGlinchey, you get no good reasons as to why. So that's kind of the scary situation with that guy. But Zach, what is your next question here?
Here, I'm getting a little wild with this one. What's more likely that the Sean Payton and Russell Wilson thing goes bad, and we have more fighting in the media, much like we did with Hackett and Wilson last year, in the sense where they're leaking things out about each other and yada, yada, yada. Oh, this guy doesn't have the team. This guy doesn't have the team. And it eventually climaxes with Sean Payton saying something to the media, disparaging about Russell Wilson, much like he did about Ben DiNucci having to work at Walmart or whatever because he threw an interception at practice. And that's Sean Payton's thing. He comes from the Bill Parcells tree. He's an old school guy. So what's more likely? Sean Payton at some point this season throws Russell Wilson under the bus, and it'll be a climax, a building of events. It won't just be like Wilson has one bad game and there's one comment. Talking about a climaxing thing here. Or the marriage is beautiful and lovely and great, and Russell Wilson wins comeback player of the year in 2023. Joey, what's more likely?
I think Sean Payton saying stuff to the media about Russell Wilson is much more likely. I think it's not even a question. I'll be honest with you. I think Russell Wilson could go out there, win the comeback player of the year, yet we'll probably still get 4 or 5 Sean Payton weird Russell Wilson quotes out there. That's I think that is not even what's more likely. I just think it's straight up likely. It's going to happen. That's my take. It's going to happen. And you can mark this down. When it happens, I'm going to go post this clip all over the timeline. That's just what I think. It's going to happen. Zach, where do you stand on it?
I kind of think you're right. Even as I was laying it out, I'm like, oh man, that one really could happen. I do think I'm the Russell Wilson guy, or Russell Wilson hating guy. So it's hard for me, but I'll try and make the case for the other one here. Vegas has him as the 6th most likely option for the award. And we've seen this before. Philip Rivers previously won the award without injuries like Wilson. He was just bad and then was good the next year. And the NFL gave him comeback player of the year. So it's well within the possibility. It's going to be, if Russell Wilson's good this year, it's going to be a big talking point. And I don't think it even has to be great, but it will be, Sean Payton has revived Russell Wilson and has saved the Denver Broncos.
Yep.
And it could line up for the nice little reward. Now, that said, like you said, maybe things are going well and Sean Payton's still going to be button heads with Russell Wilson. And I think that's 100% right, because things were going great in Seattle. And Pete Carroll is a lot more friendly than Sean Payton and a lot more beloved than Sean Payton. And still, Russell Wilson was plotting on Pete Carroll's downfall by the end of things. It felt like he wanted, which he was actually. I think it's been reported at this point he went to ownership and said it's either Pete Carroll or me. So,
well, you got Russell Wilson plotting on Pete Carroll's downfall, and then you also have that NFL draft rookie breakdown guy on Twitter who's giving him shouts out for developing Percy Harvin. So we got two polar opposites.
That was crazy.
That was nuts. But okay, here's my thing. If Russell Wilson is good enough, or if Russell Wilson wins the comeback player of the year, Zach, this is what would need to happen. It's a lot more to do with the surrounding pieces is my thing. I think that if he comes back and is like that, he's going to have to take his Ryan Tannehill arc where you're not winning because of him, but you're doing it. You're doing your job effectively. He's a star in his role type of guy. That's the way I see if Russell Wilson turns it around, his arc there. You're winning with a dominant run game. He's playing off of that. You're giving him easier looks, and he's playing good in that role. I think that's the most likely outcome for Russell Wilson turning it around. And I don't know. I think this Broncos team isn't there yet, if I'm being honest. It's close. I just don't think it's there yet.
I agree with you. I can't continue to falsely hype up Russell Wilson. Joey, take it away. What's your last one here?
My last one is, what is more likely?
And this is Joey's question of the day, by the way, people.
It also is
coming up with one.
Yeah, let's pull the graphic up.
Yeah, grab the graphic, Joey. I got the sound. It's Joey's question of the day.
Woo! I'm just trying to find the graphic.
I thought you were grabbing
we shut it for a second. Let's get it off. What is more likely, Zach, that Vance Joseph is looked at as a fantastic defensive coordinator after this year? Broncos country is ecstatic about Vance Joseph, or that he's fired? What's more likely?
That's tough. I don't think it'll be fired.
I have a take for you.
I don't know. I hope it's the Christian Parker thing, because I could see that, but it's just the one and done thing is going to be a lot of moving pieces on the defensive coordinator thing. I do think Sean Payton targeted Vance Joseph because he believed in him as a coach and was impressed by whatever things he had seen or heard. I'm not the biggest believer in it. You know what? I'm going to have to say it's more likely that he's fired, just because I do think Sean Payton.
You're the Vance Joseph guy. I thought I was going to argue with you.
Well, I think we're talking about like the fan base here, and after the Broncos have been spoiled with Evero and Fangio, I don't think they realize how good they've had it these past few years. People were really frustrated with Fangio at times, and I know things cooled down the stretch with Evero a little bit. I think things might be really bumpy with Vance Joseph. And you might feel the effect of that a lot more if the offense doesn't get rolling immediately. And now the defense isn't what we've been used to over the last 4 years, and the offense isn't there either. And it's all going up in smoke. So I do think it's probably, man, but one and done. I think both are pretty unlikely, but ultimately I don't think this is going to go well. So I'll fall on that side of it.
Zach, do think the odds of it being a one and done are there. Like, I don't think that it's that unlikely. I really don't.
So why is that? Why is that?
Because if the Broncos don't play good this year, there's going to have to be changes somewhere. You're not just going to go into it next year with the exact same cast of crew or whatever. And I think almost more than anything, him and Russell Wilson are right there. He has the biggest. If a Broncos season doesn't go good, the fan base, their leash with Vance Joseph is already not there. He has a shorter leash with the fan base than almost anybody, being that he was a prior head coach that no one thought was good. And then for the same team. And then I think if he has any regression on defense, everyone's going to want to blame Vance Joseph immediately. Literally any regression, whether it be fair or not. And when I look at it, he has the ability to be the biggest scapegoat ever. We fired Vance Joseph. Everything's okay. Don't worry. Don't look at me. Vance Joseph is gone. I could see that very easily.
I could see it too, but with how they drafted this year, with the JL Skinner pick, with the Riley Moss pick, and I know they've been saying one thing, but I think their actions point towards maybe a move towards more of that Vance Joseph cover 3 world. I feel like even if things do go bad on defense next year, if they go really bad, I'm with you. It's probably one and done for Vance Joseph. But if it just goes sort of bad, I feel like Vance Joseph will get one more year to run it back. And the pitch will be like, well, he didn't have his guys. He had all the Fangio and Evero defense guys. He didn't have his guys. We got to run his defense with his guys.
Won't work.
And then we'll get I don't think it will either, but I think that might be the way it falls down. Like, he's like, I didn't have the right personnel to run my defense.
I mean, it's possible.
And he buys himself a year.
The other possibility for a scapegoat, there's 3. It's Vance Joseph, George Payton,
Russ.
Whether they be on fault or not, these are the 3. And it just, if the Broncos don't play good, all 3, 1, 2, some will be
any combination.
George Payton, Russell Wilson, Vance Joseph. That's just, I think, what it is. I really do see it going that way if the Broncos don't play good. You're going to have to – Sean Payton's here for the long haul. Yep. He's not going anywhere. It's going to be the other people around him.
Yeah, hopefully. I would love if it's like a Brian Daboll situation, at least, where it's just like, oh my God, there's a lot of problems on this team still, maybe, but the coach is figured out.
Yeah, that'd be
sometimes
good.
You can just tell, like, hey, they got that one right.
Yeah,
that's my big hope for this season.
Well, cool. Okay, I think we had a lot of good conversation this episode, Zach. That was fun. Like, these questions bring up certain topics that I don't think we would have otherwise. So I had a lot of fun recording this. I hope everyone really enjoyed this podcast as well. Again, thank you to all the viewers, listeners, however you guys indulge our podcast. We very, 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 very much appreciate it. Shout out to everybody. Zach, give the people where they can find your work, man.
Absolutely. Check me out at milehighsports.com. I've got tons of Buffs coverage coming out. And then the YouTube channel. We keep shouting that out. Let's Talk Broncos on YouTube. We've got a ton of stuff going on over there. That'll stay occupied during our break. Everyone, we will be gone on our Monday and Wednesday shows for the next couple weeks here. So we rest and recharge. But you can still find Bree and I, and I imagine Joey will be on LTD. I don't know.
I'll give out a shout.
I don't want to sign you up for anything. But you'll be able to find us somewhere for sure. But Bree, absolutely on the Fan Cave every Monday from 1 to 2 p.m. on Mile High Sports Radio or the Mile High Sports Twitch. She's always there giving great radio content, and I almost always join her. So check us out over there.
Cool. Yeah, everyone, I very much I would support this radio that Zach and Bree have going on the radio station, but I can't make it. Work as hell. But yeah, it's a great thing. I listen to it while I'm driving around for work, while whatever I'm doing for work, I'm always listening to Zach and Bree on there. So definitely go and listen to it. It's a great product, a great show. You could find Frankie and I. So instead of Thursday this week, since the Nuggets play at 6:30 and we go live at 6, we're going on Friday. It's like a Let's Talk Broncos episode, but it's going to be Frankie and I. Find us at Friday, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and then we're going to be right back on our regular scheduling after that. But that's all I really have. Make sure you're following the Let's Talk Broncos YouTube. Like Zach said, follow me at JR Drafts, Instagram, Let's Talk Broncos. But until next time, guys, go Broncos.
Go Broncos.